Hello everyone, we're going to make a start to sit, discover, change again. I don't think we often say the name of
No, we don't. No, it's true.
what we're doing. Today we're going to look at a little bit around the reasons why people don't come to counselling, like what might stop someone coming to counselling. You'll probably know more about that than me.
Yeah.
I'm the one that receives the client, so I don't always know
No.
why people wouldn't make an inquiry.
No, yeah, that's right, yeah.
So it might be best for you to say about your journey towards maybe those initial stages of choosing counselling. What made you choose it? Maybe how you felt around coming into the first session before you arrived. I've done counselling myself as part of my training, so I could share a little bit of my experience too about why I chose a particular counsellor and what would have stopped me going. Although, you know, I had to go as part of my course. So I had no choice, really.
No.
But you had choice.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And I don't think I wanted to come at all initially because it's quite exposing, isn't it? Because first of all, I sort of knew of you from the past, but like we brushed shoulders here and there a little bit, but not to, not really well. So I didn't know who you were, didn't know how you react to stuff. So that was a big issue for me. I had a lot of shameful stuff I wanted to share, but didn't know who I could trust with it. And initially I came into here and I didn't share it the first few sessions, I think, because I was too nervous. And a lot of that sort of shame sort of put me off from coming in. And it's a pride thing as well. I think there's a big sort of, generally with counselling, I think people think that is just for those who are weak, those who are sort of mentally ill, who have got mental health issues. But what I've learned really is I think it can benefit absolutely everyone, and I think that's a misconception that is damaging actually, because a lot of people do bottle up stuff, but don't have that outlet to really talk through what's going on. So yeah.
Tell me a little bit, John, if you're willing, about the shame. So that was one of the early things that you mentioned, that you had some shameful things to share, and you wasn't sure, like we'd brushed shoulders a couple of times, but initially I guess you wasn't sure whether you could trust me. What is it about shame for you that would keep you out of counselling? Like, what is it specifically about shame? So I appreciate there are other factors too, like you were saying, it's only weak people that go to counselling, or people with mental health issues, but you initially spoke about shame.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that, like shame keeping you out of counselling.
Well, I think anything that you're shameful about, you want to hide fundamentally. So it's not something I really wanted to share with anyone at all. And I'm a Christian as well, so in the Christian world it's sort of considered sin in a way, to the thing that I'm thinking of. So I was very nervous about sort of talking about that, because I didn't want to sort of expose myself as being a weak human, really.
There's an irony to it all, isn't there, which is making me laugh, because as you speak I think, okay, so this potentially is going through a client's mind that part of them wants to go to counselling to share their shame that they don't want to share because they're ashamed of it, but then they're willing to pay to share their shame. It's right. Really conflicted, isn't it? And it's very like I can sense the battle that takes place. So you've got something you really want to share, you then don't really want to share it because you feel the shame, but then you'd pay money to give me your shame, to share your shame, even though you don't want to. It's like it's an oxymoron sort of feeling, isn't it? There's an irony.
It's really ironic. I think in a way, paying you makes it feel a bit more secure or safe or something, because I'm giving you money. There's sort of a trust element that you'll keep things confidential and things. Whereas if you just share it with a friend up the pub or something, there's not that sort of official sort of thing about it. So at least there's that sort of comfort really in paying for counselling. But yeah, I remember coming up here for the first day, and I was just really wet myself, really, just walking down the little alleyway into the gate and stuff, and And I feel like the videos you'd done on your website were quite useful because they sort of help put me at ease that that it's going to be okay and what to expect and things like that. So that was useful. But yeah, it's not an easy thing to open up. But once I realised who you were, that I could trust you, that you were going to sort of help me out and you weren't going to judge me, I think is the biggest thing. Then I sort of shared more and more of what I really felt about certain things. And now we're at this stage where we can talk like this even on camera. So,
a bit more openly.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you think, from your perspective, but in general too, with clients that come to see me, like if you were to guess, do you think that first session, or even the first 3 or 4 sessions, you don't actually share what you've intended to come to counselling for? So like if you've got this shame, and let's say it's like a 10 out of 10 level shame, and you come to counselling for the first time and you've never shared that shame with anyone, you've just internalised it. My guess is what happens for those first few sessions is you just choose other stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah.
And the very thing that you're paying money to come to counselling for, you're not even talking about. Which in a way is keeping you outside of the counselling connection still, even though you're here.
100%, yeah. So the first session, I didn't record it, which is one of my biggest regrets in life, because I've recorded every session since after that. But in that session, I talked about social anxiety, which isn't what I came to talk to you about at all. But I guess I was using that as a bit of a sort of dip your toe in the water to see how whether I can dive in type of thing. And I realised I could dive in. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that people sort of bring something else that's sort of semi-interesting to test the water in that first session, because then they will see that they could trust you and that you're going to help them out. You're not there to judge them. And I think in session 2, I came in wanting to talk about food, and because I do like to eat, and that's a bit of an issue for me. So I started with that, but that wasn't really what I wanted to talk about. And then somehow, I think you said something along the lines of, so how do you make yourself feel better type thing? And that's what led me to talk about what I really wanted to talk about in that session. Somehow it sort of came out because it was almost like bursting out, ready to go, really.
So it was almost like a build up to it. So session 1, you were kind of sussing out the environment, whether you could trust me, whether you felt judged by me. So you went for a subject that was slightly safer for you, like social anxiety. Even though not particularly safe, but slightly safer. Then you moved on to food and stuff around your weight, which was more vulnerable. So you were testing the vulnerability and the judgment and the trust. And then by session 3, I happened to ask a question that then opened up the very thing that you wanted to talk about, which, funny enough, in these videos, we haven't even spoken about it, haven't we? Because there's some nervousness that we both have in sharing it.
Yeah, we both are nervous about that topic, and I could just say it, but you just have to keep listening to the podcast to find out what it is one day.
It's almost like these videos that we do, we're almost building up trust with the people that listen to get to the point of you being able, and me being able, to talk about the subject that you initially wanted to share with me, that you came to counselling for.
That's it, exactly. But I think a big thing is I think there's a lot of people out there that think they don't need it, and that is not the case at all. I think anyone in the world needs it, and I certainly lived a big portion of my life thinking I had it all together, and counselling or therapy or anything like that was for the weak and for the feeble who just didn't have life down. Now, I'm not saying I do have life down, but equally I think even those who are put together will have their mental struggles that they're just internalising all the time, in terms of their thinking these deep thoughts inside them about X, Y, Z, but they're not sharing it with anyone, and that's causing a massive divide between who they could be and where they are at the moment. And really coming in here, it was almost like you held up a massive mirror, one of those big mirrors, and I could just see who I was. And until I shared, I couldn't have that experience. I couldn't have that mirror coming back at me. But because I started sharing and you started sort of almost repeating, which is obviously a technique you use in terms of what I say, and you were sharing your thoughts on situations as well. It was almost like I could see what was going on in the inside, which I had never come to see before. So yeah, it was very powerful.
Yeah, maybe you were a bit too close to it and it was
Yeah.
all internalised, that you didn't have the opportunity for the mirror and then
No.
to reflect, or somebody else kind of feeding into what you were saying to give you different avenues of exploration.
Yeah.
But you just kind of, it was all internal.
Yeah.
I often think with that, I don't know whether this happens and we're going off subject slightly, but it might be one of the reasons that keep people away from counselling. I often think, like, sometimes our thoughts, we're not entirely happy with the thoughts that we think. And we can maybe even like ban ourselves from particular thoughts. Oh, I shouldn't think that. Or I'm not allowed to think that. So then that could be something that keeps us away from counselling, couldn't it? Of like, I've got all this stuff to share and I'm not even okay with some of the thoughts that I think. So there's no way I'm going to go to counselling and share those thoughts with a counsellor, because I'm spending day in, day out trying to ban myself from thinking those thoughts.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
why would I be vulnerable and share that with another human being when I'm not even okay with sharing it with myself?
That's very true. Yeah, that's extremely true. Yeah.
And then when you take that step to speak it out to a counsellor, that's when you have that mirror experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, here's a thought that I'm not okay having. I'm going to speak it out.
Yeah.
I spoke it out. Oh, the mirror's showing me there's no judgment coming back.
Yeah,
maybe I shouldn't judge myself.
It's the shocking bit, to be honest, that I found. Like, oh, okay, Gary's not going to judge me. So then I think on session 2, halfway through, I felt like I could actually just dive in, which, you know, probably was a bit quick, really, to sort of share everything in session 2. But I was desperate, actually. That's actually why it was. I was desperate to share it with someone because I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone about it, which makes me feel a bit emotional, really, because of that level of shame. I just didn't feel like I could talk to anyone. But I found in talking about it, it's actually, you know, made me feel so much better. And yeah.
So that something just hit your emotion there. Like when you said the
I think
desperation? Was it that?
I think it's sad, really, that we live in a society that doesn't provide people very well with sort of a platform to share who they really are. And I think that's the emotion, really, is that it's sad that we live in a world like that, whereas we all need to really share the depths of who we are, but a lot of us bottle it up. And a lot of it's pride. We want to save face, don't we? But I think if you're watching this and you're thinking, shall I go to counselling, and you're feeling that question mark, I would say, you know, I'd encourage you to lower your pride and just do it. Find someone that you can connect with as a therapist, and you'll find just a new lease of life, really, in that.
With that kind of comment, the lower the pride, do you think there is something within a human being that feels like the need to fix themselves? So there's like this brokenness, or they're not happy with their thoughts or their behaviours or who they are, and they think, okay, I'm going to fix that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go to counselling, I'm not going to share my life, I'm not going to have this mirrored experience, I'm going to fix it myself.
Yeah.
And maybe part of it is that we have to reach the realisation that everybody's broken and that we can't fix ourselves.
No.
And it's in the sharing that maybe we don't even get fixed, but it's in the sharing that, I don't know, something happens. We find a bit of depth and a bit of connection.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, there's that phrase, "No man's an island," and I would say it's the same for women as well. It's like we shouldn't be on our own, but we are sort of in a society that encourages us to just have a stiff upper lip and have that independence and try and fix ourselves, whereas actually so many other people are struggling with whatever you're struggling with. But we all think we're sort of isolated on these islands. But really, we need to sort of bring everyone together and start sharing about the fact that we're all feeling these things. And in doing that, there's healing in that. Yeah.
Yeah, in the normalisation, because I guess that heals the loneliness and isolation, which is a large part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm the only one who's having these thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that behaves like this. I'm the only one who's this
Yeah.
weak or this low. Or,
Yeah.
But then when you find other people, you're like, hold on a minute. I'm not so lonely now.
No,
I'm not
that's
so
right.
isolated now.
I think, the thing I came to counselling about, you could relate to as well. And that suddenly meant that I wasn't isolated all of a sudden. I'm not the only one with the problem that I've got. And we were able to discuss that, and it felt like we were on the same level, which is what we're all desperate for, is people on the same level as us.
And as a feeling, what did that feel like? So when you named your struggle to me, and you were vulnerable in that moment, and I said, I struggle with that. And in fact, loads of people struggle with that.
Yeah.
And I named it back to you, and I owned it for myself too.
Yeah.
What feeling did you have in that moment?
Like a weight lifted off my shoulder, that I was released almost from. It felt like I was really in a prison of just me on my own. I can't fix myself. I don't know what to do to fix myself. But all of a sudden, it was almost like a friend was helping me fix myself.
So you felt free and released, but without actually being fixed from the problem.
Yeah, no, that's
the freedom
it.
and the release came from, I'm not on my own.
Yeah, that's right. And I think really a lot of us, and I sort of did as well, I came to counselling to be fixed, but I don't think in counselling or therapy you really ever do get fully fixed.
Well, I'm not fixed.
No, that's right, you're not fixed. But in opening up, there's actually the healing comes because we're sharing. And we're sort of, and we're on the same level, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe part of the journey is knowing that we're not fixed, but accepting ourselves more, and then like trying to let go of the critical judgment quite so much.
Yeah.
So, in the particular problem that you've got and all the shame that comes from that problem, I'm guessing the best moments of your life, if you're still not fixed in that area, are the moments where you feel least judgment and most acceptance.
That's right.
Like everybody else is in this boat with me, and it's okay, we're all struggling.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And I think if I'm brutal, we go to church, I go to church, but in that environment, it's very hard to just be real, because there's a lot of pressure in a way to live up to a certain standard, which obviously, Jesus is the standard ultimately in the Christian world as a Christian. So there's quite a high standard. So you're less willing to just be real with your mates because you don't want to expose yourself as not meeting that standard that we feel we should meet. Yeah. As a Christian, this is a Christian thing.
Yeah. So within the Christian context, my guess is that everybody's feeling that same way. So it's not just you, they're feeling that same way, but because no one's sharing, it all gets blocked up. And then you've got the loneliness and isolation. It's just me, I'm not reaching the standard.
Yeah, that's it.
Funny thing is, I think even from that perspective, is the least judgmental person in all of it is Jesus himself.
Yeah, that's right.
He doesn't judge. That's not part of who he is.
Yeah,
that's not part of his character. Which amazes me. So, he's this perfect standard, and maybe he lived this perfect life, and we try and pull ourselves up to that standard, which I think is no bad thing. It's a good desire to want to be a good person.
Thing. Yeah.
But then when we don't reach that standard, what comes towards us from him, this is my belief, is not judgment, it's forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's the very opposite of what we fear.
Yeah.
Which is that's the freedom of Jesus.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We expect judgment, but we get forgiveness.
Yeah.
We expect shame, but we get no condemnation.
Yeah, that's it. But I think because in reality, us Christians go to church, we still don't ooze that sort of non-judgment. We sort of ooze judgment in a way. In some ways, I mean, I'm not saying everyone does, but I certainly did myself. Like growing up, I thought I was pretty holy, I guess, as a Christian. I was a very good Christian, really, back in the day. I would say I'm less of a good Christian these days, but I would probably use that sort of I'm better than you, without really thinking about it. But it comes from a desire to be valued, I think, ultimately. But the external face of it is that I'm saying I'm better than you.
Yeah, and again, like if we move outside of the Christian context again for a moment, if people are wearing this "I'm better than you" mask, we've set a time, we've just gone over it.
Yeah.
If people are wearing the "I'm better than you" mask, that would be a discouragement for somebody to come to counselling.
Yeah,
because they're going to
it.
believe that everybody else is better than them because they see people with the "I'm better than you" mask.
Yeah.
And the only experience we have of people is the experience they give us.
Yeah.
So if you give me the experience of your mask of "I'm better than you," that's the only experience I have of you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what's behind the mask.
And if everyone's wearing their mask in society, it feels like we can't trust anyone. So you bottle it up and you have all these sort of internal pressures, like a storm going around you, but you're not really sharing it with your wife. And then what happens? You have a midlife crisis and commit suicide when you're 55 because you just can't hack it anymore because you haven't let the volcano out of all these issues.
Yeah, because you're believing that everybody else is better than you.
Yeah, that's it.
So that'll keep you from sharing
Yeah.
it, not just in the counselling context,
No.
but with your wife or with your friends or family. If you believe they're better than you, then you won't share the darker side of yourself.
And to be honest, until I came here, I didn't really think that people in church or anyone else was even struggling with what I was struggling. It just wasn't really a thing that I really particularly thought was happening. But then you said that it is the case. People are struggling everywhere, and even though they might give off this vibe that they're fine, they're put together, they're the most holy person in the world, and they're the best type thing, that people still have their struggles. So
every human being, doesn't they?
Yeah.
Even if it's not behaviourally, like in their thoughts, that they will have their struggles.
That's right, yeah. But also coming into here, just in closing, I guess, was one of the things you said to me is if you can't love yourself at your worst, you don't deserve to love yourself at your best. And that was an eye-opener as well, that I just need to love myself as I am, man. Just stop putting all the pressure on that I've got to be this superhuman being that's the best at everything, just to be the best.
So it's that acceptance.
Yeah.
And like I said at the beginning, that I would share what would keep me out of counselling, and it was slightly different because I had to go as part of my course.
Yeah.
But my counselling was in Ashford, so it was like a 20-minute drive from where I lived at the time. And I remember on that drive every time going in, how open should I be? How much of my shame am I going to share? Am I going to share the really hard stuff?
Yeah.
Or should I just be a bit surface level?
Yeah.
Or do I really trust this other human being that I'm going to see? How safe is it going to be with them to share my stuff? And I varied every time, every drive. Like, am I going to say this? Am I not going to say it?
Well, you mean with the same person as well? Yeah.
I toyed around with, and I don't think I ever reached 100% vulnerability.
No. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Very difficult.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And even now, I don't know whether I would say I'm pretty open with you now, not necessarily all the stuff on camera, but yeah, I'm almost at 10, probably about a 9 out of 10 vulnerability on the vulnerability scale.
So you've still got that, maybe 90%.
Well,
you've still got that.
I might even be 10, to be honest. But yeah, it's hard to trust another human, and it takes a while. I mean, we've been meeting for like 3 years now, haven't we? So yeah, so I'm probably at 10, to be honest with you. Well, I would say 10, I am at 10, to be honest. The amount of stuff I share with you, I think, should I be saying that? I don't know. So anyway, no, that was a good session. Yeah, is there anything else you wanted to say on you going to counselling?
No, that was pretty much like I'd be toying with, do I bring my full self to counselling, or do I bring the mask, or I only share this particular bit, but this bit I'm keeping to myself.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, cool, excellent.
Well, all right.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Gary. Yeah, good session.
You too, John. Yeah,
good.
An interesting one.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
bye for now.
Bye, everyone. Thanks ever so much for listening in. Remember to hit the follow button to stay up to date for latest episodes.